SMEs are the backbone of the Philippine economy. Unionbank has laid down the groundwork for creating an ecosystem helping businesses through an integrated user experience connecting key stakeholders in the ecosystem. SMEs can now have immediate access to financial service providers, points of sale or POS, accounting, inventory, human resources, tax and payroll services, supply chain management, and providing business communities and engagement in B2B and B2C marketplaces. In building that ecosystem, Unionbank Globallinker was born. It's an online platform with social networking capabilities that help SMEs manage and grow their businesses. On their first year of launch, they already have 33,000 SMEs signed up in the platform. Their promise: to become a one-stop hub for business owners. 4 pillars. Network with potential partners and suppliers from a global network of SMEs. Engage with thought leaders and create your own topics for discussion. Avail exclusive deals and offers from business solutions that will help aid an SME's business. Create a DIY e-commerce shop, linker.store.
I think one major role that Globallinker plays is its ability to create a digital platform that for business growth. It's a huge help because it provides for an avenue where businesses can interact, learn, and at the same time expand their networks.
But as a social media platform, Globallinker helps build the community of SMEs and link them to the right markets, suppliers, financiers, and advisors.
I've actually established a contact in Philippines who is interested in my product, and we are working on ways how we can do that. So hopefully, it materializes.
The future of the SME sector in the Philippines is endless. With fintech, business growth can accelerate by breaking down barriers, setting up important connections, and moving daily activities. Success is definite. It's just waiting to happen. The growth of SME filters to all levels of the Philippine society. This sector employs more than 60% of Filipinos. So many lives will be transformed with the success of SMEs. Unionbank Globallinker will be there to make it happen.
All right, welcome everyone to Bounce Back Practical Coaching Series. Thank you again to our corporate sponsors, Unionbank Globallinker, as well as Resellee Zero Puhunan, one of the newest and most interesting social media platforms. I am your host for this session, the 15th coaching series. My name is Sean, and I'm very eager to meet with you, talk to you today about a bit of a different topic now, more around the employees. I guess for the first 14 sessions, we've already talked a lot about marketing, new businesses, Facebook, social media. For this session, I'd like to focus a bit more around our people. I'd like to discuss about how, as a business, small, medium enterprises can be more successful, especially now in these challenging days, is if we look at and manage our people in a much more, in a way, adaptive or more creative way, given all the challenges that we're facing. So you're looking at our presentation today. We will be, I'll be hosting this session for about 30 minutes to 45 minutes. And we'll be opening it up for questions towards the end. You can put in your questions on the chat section, and we'll be happy to cover some of those, or if not most of them. And of course, we will be having this session available for replay in all our BBN channels. So you can always visit our BBN channels and listen to the topic for tonight, which is around employee management, reconstructing the employment deal, and rewarding your employees. Welcome again to BBN. So just a quick background for myself. I've been I've been a professional for more than 20 years. Really built my experience around business and HR consulting, and I was lucky to be based in Singapore for a while, covering Southeast Asia and helping businesses around business and HR advisories in different industries. I covered industries in electronics, insurance, banking, as well as even oil and gas. So it's mostly around topics on how to really manage your employees, salaries and benefits, and engagement. And I've also had a very interesting career earlier on in research and financial advisory. And for the last 5 years, been very active in startups, developing new products and even branding new products, distribution and marketing. And at the bottom of my slide, you will see some of the brands that I've been either a partner with or I've been involved with or building for the last 5 years. So I'm also a partner of Resellee. So this is a very interesting social media selling app that you should really consider. It's zero puhunan, and I think we've been creating a lot of opportunities for everyone to be able to add extra income, especially now in our more difficult situation. I think for the last 2 weeks easily, we've been working with even LGUs to assist local governments and constituents to be able to have access to a more rewarding social selling platform. That's Resellee. And then we're also managing Gentle Mama, more around babies. We have this anti-diabetes wine and a few other brands that you can look up on Facebook that we are promoting and managing. Okay. Now, going on to our topic for today, employee management. We all know that it's the most critical resource that we have. Of course, we have other resources around capital, investments, and so on. But how can we really be successful if we're not managing our employees well? And especially during this very difficult times, it's really important to have that engaging and motivating strategy to manage your employees and drive your business going forward. The question is, given this new economy, what we call it the new normal, I think there's really a critical, this is a critical junction about what we call the employment deal. In HR, we have what we call the employment deal, right? It's essentially the contract between the employee and the employers. So there are traditional ways of having that contract. Normally, you will provide basic salaries, career advancement, training, benefits, and so on. But given the development of the last 12 months, and I guess today is February 9, we're just about 1 year into this global crisis. A lot has really changed, right? I mean, we're now calling this a new normal economy. And I guess the relationship between employees and employers are really into a big junction, and we need to really think hard how we can look at this and improve the way we manage this forward. So I'd like to discuss a little bit around trends in the global economy, because this will definitely impact our businesses and how we should manage our employees. So if some of you have experienced the global financial meltdown in 2008, 2009, that's the closest comparison that we can look at as business people, where we struggled with our businesses. The economy was really experiencing a lot of turmoil. But what we're experiencing now is really unprecedented, right? We haven't experienced this before. So we need to think harder, and we need to look for more solutions on how we can survive as a business to be able to move forward. And it's not just the Philippines or other parts of the world, it's everywhere in the world, and which is really impacting the way we do things, the way we live. So a lot of industries are impacted. All of this movement restrictions, and when you look at the overall economy and how we consume goods and services, given all of these restrictions, obviously there are a lot of industries which are struggling because it seems to be just a back to basic economy, right? Um, we cannot go out to go for travel. We cannot go out for some other luxury services. We cannot go out for a lot of other normal things that we do because of these limitations. And of course, these are impacting businesses who are into those industries. And essentially, that will also impact how we should be managing our employees, or if we still have employees as of now, because I'm sure a lot of us have struggled on retaining them, given all the limitations that we have as business people. And then, as a positive, in a way, positive development is this global health crisis has really accelerated the e-commerce trend, right? I mean, where before 2 to 3 years ago, we were talking about 2 to 3% e-commerce penetrations in the Philippines. Probably it has doubled or tripled now in the last 12 months. And we have seen a lot of new players, new ideas, trying to go into that space. And essentially, it's becoming a more, it's becoming a basic way of life now for most of us. So that's going to be impacting a lot of industries, a lot of thinking on how we do things, and of course on how things work, right? And how we do things as a business, and how employees will be working in our businesses, and we ourselves will be how we will be behaving and going through our daily lives. So a lot of new things, and unfortunately at this point it's been 12 months, and it's going to be a struggle, even though we know the vaccines are coming. But then again, we need to be very careful of what's going forward. So with that, in the new economy, I'm sure our employees, us as employees as well, are struggling, right? Where before we had all these very difficult lockdowns. Now, 12 months into this crisis, we've seen a lot of big brands closing shop, global brands, global businesses, small businesses struggling to survive. So of course, our employees or normal people like us are really struggling with confidence, right? For most people, where will I get the income to survive or to go through my expenses? Will I be employed tomorrow, or will I have really downsized job? Will my company cut my salaries? I don't have bonuses anymore. I don't have Christmas bonuses. Even benefits have been cut. And forget about career direction at this point, given the fact that everything is at standstill. So employees are in a really difficult situation, not just around their careers, but even their, most essentially, source of income, right? So we've seen a lot of, I'm sure everyone is aware how the DTI registration numbers have really gone up, right? Hundreds of percentage of increase in business registration, because people need new sources of income. And that's a very simple evidence of the DTI registration is a simple evidence of people really needing new sources of income. And given all of these challenges, I guess it's natural that we all need to adapt. We need to change the way we think, the way we do things, and we need to um, develop new skills on the go. That's why this practical coaching series is very important, because we will all be learning. We will all be learning from each other, from new e-commerce techniques to new selling techniques, developing new products, researching for new ideas, just getting coaching from leaders who have gone through this before, understanding new markets, and even managing just managing our daily activities in the office or in our businesses, because we've never faced this before. So this is a continuous challenge for employees, and therefore, as business people who need those employees, we will always be facing difficult challenges as well. And in that setting, of course, employers like us will always be challenged on very uncertain business conditions. And we've seen a lot of evidence of companies downsizing and closing shop. Um, those who cannot manage inventories and, of course, paying off debts is going to be very difficult. And for most of those who are having difficulty with the businesses, will have to let go of our people. And hence, all of this will have a very difficult impact to our businesses now, and how we manage going forward, and how we grow going forward, and how we bounce back going forward. And given that the situation has really limited our businesses, it's not just a luxury to find new sources of income. It's really a necessity to find new ways of income, because we need to make ends meet. And it's essentially going to be finding new products, learning new ideas that we can turn into businesses, and at the end of the day, getting more practical mindset and skills, because we know that this difficult times, there's a very short timeline that we need to make money or earn money for our businesses, because expenses are there and there are limited opportunities at this point. So this is the backdrop, or this is the situation that we're in, that I guess we need to rethink of how, or reconstruct of how we look at how we manage our HR teams, our people, our processes, our resources. And I'd say that the historical, the traditional deal, or that we've had with our employees, I guess is going to be challenged and may no longer exist or may no longer continue. So we need to think of ways of how we can do that moving forward. Of course, there are certain elements of the deal or the employment contract that we need to follow. There are certain labor laws that needs to be followed, but I guess it's going to be calling us to be more creative, because we want to succeed, we want to bounce back, and we need to bounce back with our employees, right? We need to have a very interesting deal. We need to offer them a very interesting deal, because they are a key resource. And if you lose an employee and you need to move your business forward, you'll never be able to do that without your key or critical employees. So I'd like to propose a few interesting thoughts about how we can do or go forward with a new employment deal or a new deal. I think it's going to be interesting if we can offer some hybrid salaries or compensation. Traditionally, it's a tug of war between, or it's the difference between, for example, guaranteed pay and more performance-based pay. But I think nowadays, given the limitations and on budgets and capabilities, hybrid salaries will be interesting to propose, right? It could mean a combination of not only cash. We always say cash is king, but if we don't have cash, how can we move forward, right? So hybrid salaries can be somewhere around combination of your cash, even your products as benefits or other services or trainings that you can provide to employees. It's essentially engaging them in a new discussion, a new way forward that will make the compensation or the incentives work for both of you, given the budget limitations that you need to work with. Of course, this will matter differently between big companies, small companies, but it will all start with the discussion between the employer and the employee of how to survive together and move things forward. So I'd like to propose that hybrid salaries, which may come in different forms with different companies, different industries. And I guess the new employment deal, there will be a new minimum on skill sets, right? Given the acceleration of technology and e-commerce and the use of mobile capabilities, we know that some of the segments of our workforce may never go back to work at all because maybe they'll not be able to adapt to new technology in going forward. We know that we also need to invest on technologies to be able to catch up, and then of course train our employees to use them. So it's going to be a new it's a new, in a way, menu of skills that we need to have or require from employees to be able to move our businesses. And continuous learning will be critical in that. That's why, again, the value of this online sessions is really, really important, not just for ourselves as business owners, but also for our employees. And I guess the other thing that will be very important in the new deal is giving our employees a seat in the table. I think this is a very interesting time to really involve them in planning the new path forward for our companies, because they've experienced working with us, and I'm sure they'll have interesting ideas. And this will also engage them and motivate them to work with us in bringing our business forward and helping us recover. So a seat in the table, more engagement, ownership and accountability will provide more motivation for our employees to stay and perform and be inspired to join us in this new deal. And the last variable that I think will be critical will be around marketing. And I guess now that we are in a very different situation, everyone needs to be an ambassador of the company, right? We need to all be brand ambassadors. We need to support each other in promoting our company in social media, in our day-to-day interactions, because this is very critical for the success of everyone. So I guess gone will be the days of being a back end or front end employee. It will be important now that all of our team will be equipped and committed to be brand ambassadors so that we can all move our companies going forward, given the challenges that we're facing. So the last thing I'd like to discuss now, given some of those new ideas, is I guess it's as small and medium enterprise business owners, how will it be? What will be the critical factors to be successful now in the new economy? I think it lies around the critical balance and working environment of these three factors. I think our businesses need to be optimized with the use of e-commerce, multiple e-commerce. There's a lot of new platforms nowadays, but we cannot of course be stretched. We cannot just join every one of those platforms. We need to find the best channel that we can leverage on and maximize our capacity and exposure in those e-commerce platforms. We need to make sure that our employees have the new skill sets, mobile technology, even the mindset definitely is going to be very critical. Use of social media as ambassadors for our business will be very important to give us more mileage, especially if we are pushing new products into the market. Getting everyone's help will be very important. And as leaders and business owners, the adaptability to new things, new processes, new products will be very critical, because the market, if you've seen the last 12 months, a lot of short and long-term trends are coming up. Some just die within 2 to 3 months. Some can have longer-term implications. So as business leaders, we're challenged to be able to be really adaptive, keep our ears on what's happening in the market, new ideas, and be able to make sure that we have the capability to be able to apply some of those ideas to our businesses and relay that and engage our employees to get that into the business process and be able to move as one and bounce back as one. So with that, I hope this has been a good learning session for everyone. Some thoughts for everyone to think about as we manage our businesses, as we engage with our employees, as we plan for new ideas, as we work on some new products. We need to always engage our employees. And I think at this point, we need to engage them as early as possible with our plans, with our new ideas to be able to move together. If you have any questions at this point, I think we can check the chats for some questions so that we can look at answering some of the potential ideas that we can discuss today. Okay, so we have one question here from Sam. What is your advice on startup owners that have closed their firms and now intend to go back to corporate employment? Okay, very interesting. What is your advice on startup owners that have closed their firms and now intend to go back to corporate employment? Well, I'm pretty sure this is going to be challenging for everyone, but for those who were previously employed and tried the startup group and tried to develop their ideas. What's critical at this point, I guess, is the relationships that you've had with your previous employers or your network. I'm sure you can always go back and catch up with people and see if there are opportunities. Because when you went to this startup industry or to this startup initiative that you had, I'm pretty sure you gained a lot of new skills, new knowledge, new insights on how businesses work, on how you develop technologies, on how you partner with people, on how you look at the market. So you have a lot of value that you can bring back to your employers or new employers. So in fact, this is a very positive experience that you've had, and you need to be very confident to look for opportunities, even though it's going to be as an employee. So this is going to be interesting, and I'm sure you'll find the right relationships to, if you really want to go back to employment. So look at this as a very look at it at an angle that you can actually bring a lot of value to new employers, right? And then okay, let's check the follow-up question. Those who came from corporate and want to begin their new own startup venture. So this is the reverse. So the first question is, if you were previously employed, you tried your own startup and you wanted to go back to corporate. Now the next question is, if you're coming from corporate and now you want to be a startup founder or you want to start new ventures, what would be my advice? Okay, I guess given the uncertainties that we are facing right now, you need to be looking at several scenarios. You need to be planning for several scenarios. If you have very interesting ideas that you want to start with, my first advice is to test them out with your network. Test the viability of your ideas without leaving your employer at this point, because of course doing that will make it challenging for you to manage your resources, right? So that will be a very secure way or practical way to go into the startup venture while being an employee. So test your ideas first, join groups which are sharing the same plan that you have. Join Facebook groups in the startup founders group. There's a lot of them. Read up and get some coaches to help you with your ideas. But be very careful of leaving your employment at this point. I guess that will be a critical advice. Okay, so the third question I have here is, can you name the top 5 skills that online entrepreneurs need to have nowadays? Okay, 5 top skills that online entrepreneurs need to have nowadays. I guess one will be, I always like to start with a process. So when you look at building an online business, I guess you need to make sure that you are exerting effort on product research. So you need to spend good time in doing product research. So it's a lot of effort. And of course, you need to be able to develop your skill sets around social media, how Facebook works, advertising, and how the typical e-commerce factors would play out, understanding payments, understanding logistics, fulfillment will be critical. And of course, you need to also brush up on your artistic side. You need to learn how to create or even to build attractive and engaging banners when you do your Facebook campaigns. And of course, just getting the industry knowledge or skills of, because if you're going to launch new products, you need to have very deep understanding or start to really get into deep industry knowledge of the products you wish to push into the market. So product research, social media, e-commerce factors like payments and logistics, the creative side, because this is very critical, from videos to pictures, and of course industry research. All right, so it's around 6:30. So we have the fourth question of the session. The fourth question now, which is very specific now to employee management, is how do you manage employees if your payroll is often delayed? Wow, that's a very challenging question, right? If your payroll is often delayed, it could be a challenge because of collections or low sales or no sales. I think for this kind of situation, you have several options, but everything will start with a honest discussion with your employees that this is where we are as a business. These are the struggles that we're facing. These are the cash flow issues that we have, and you need to find a common solution to say that if payroll is delayed, this is the solution that I can provide. Either you will have to commit on some timeline that the payroll will be provided, or you will have to find another solution, source of funds to be able to meet the payroll requirement. Or, as I talked earlier on, as a company, as a team, find new sources of income that you can actually work with your employees and build those new sources of income to be able to compensate the shortfall. And those new sources of income will now be more sales oriented, will now be more performance oriented, and will be more rewarding for them to top up the typical payroll that they're getting. So again, honest discussion about the difficulties, finding new sources of income, if you cannot find new sources of funds. All right, wow, five questions now. A fifth question that I have here is, we are prioritizing the health benefits of employees. How can we ask them to share in the cost since the expenses are huge due to the pandemic? Wow. And I think this is very critical, especially for those big companies who are into have a lot of health benefits, which are now definitely going, which the costs are now really going up given the challenges that we have. We are prioritizing the health benefits of employees. How can we ask them to share in the cost since the expenses are huge due to the pandemic? So it goes back to one of my ideas earlier on around hybrid salaries or hybrid compensation. We know there's been some trend around flexible benefits. So I guess this is also a high time to discuss with your employees about looking at those benefit plans and being able to single out certain items where you can actually save some cost. Maybe they're not being used, and look at some critical benefits that you think your company can afford for your employees. So this is again the time of having that honest discussion, that open discussion, that this is what we can afford for now. We need to agree that we wish to continue to providing these benefits, but given all the challenges, we need to sort of look at the portfolio and say this is where we will focus at this point. This is not the time to say we will just go with this. I guess it's going to be more of a partnership of how the new deal will have to work out. All right, so I hope we've had some interesting ideas discussed today. It's definitely a very difficult time for all of us. And I'm sure all of us are looking at new ideas to be able to bounce back and being able to help our employees cope with all the challenges and partner with them in bringing our businesses forward. So as a matter of process for this series, again, this is being recorded. You can play this again in any of our BBN channels. I know it's a bit of a difficult time for most people, 6 to 7 p.m. So hopefully you can listen to this and learn some new ideas that you can apply to your businesses. Do reach out to me if you have any questions. If you want to discuss new ideas, you can discuss new ways of going forward. Here's my contact details. So you can reach me on Facebook, Sean Darilay. On LinkedIn, Sean Darilay. My Gmail is sean.paul.darilay. It's a bit of a mouthful. And on Viber is 0917-126-7809. So once again, thank you very much to our corporate partners, Unionbank Globallinker, for hosting and sponsoring this, and of course Resellee, Zero Puhunan. Please look out for these two corporate partners. Thank you very much for helping us with this practical coaching series, and do watch out for series number 16. I think the topic is around going to be held tomorrow, also at 6 p.m. February 10, on the same network. So again, thank you. I wish you've had some very good learning today, and mabuhay po tayong lahat. Thank you very much.
SMEs are the backbone of the Philippine economy. Unionbank has laid down the groundwork for creating an ecosystem helping businesses through an integrated user experience connecting key stakeholders in the ecosystem. SMEs can now have immediate access to financial service providers, points of sale or POS, accounting, inventory, human resources, tax and payroll services, supply chain management, and providing business communities and engagement in B2B and B2C marketplaces. In building that ecosystem, Unionbank Globallinker was born. It's an online platform with social networking capabilities that help SMEs manage and grow their businesses. On their first year of launch, they already have 33,000 SMEs signed up in the platform. Their promise: to become a one-stop hub for business owners. 4 pillars. Network with potential partners and suppliers from a global network of SMEs. Engage with thought leaders and create your own topics for discussion. Avail exclusive deals and offers from business solutions that will help aid an SME's business. Create a DIY e-commerce shop, linker.store.
I think one major role that Globallinker plays is its ability to create a digital platform that for business growth. It's a huge help because it provides for an avenue where businesses can interact, learn, and at the same time expand their networks.
Well, as a social media platform, Globallinker helps build the community of SMEs and link them to the right markets, suppliers, financiers, and advisors.
I've actually established a contact in Philippines who is interested in my product, and we are working on ways how we can do that. So hopefully, it materializes.
The future of the SME sector in the Philippines is endless. With fintech, business growth can accelerate by breaking down barriers, setting up important connections, and moving daily activities. Success is definite. It's just waiting to happen. The growth of SME filters to all levels of the Philippine society. This sector employs more than 60% of Filipinos. So many lives will be transformed with the success of SMEs. Unionbank Globallinker will be there to make it happen.